Hi and welcome to Hihu. In this video we'll be unwinding and taking things a bit more casual. Sometimes you might not be in the mood to devour an intense 12+ hour long game. At times you just want to kick back, relax and play something to take your mind off things. So in this video we'll be taking a look at one of those games. The game I want to talk to you about is Valiant Hearts, The Great War, a puzzle adventure game made by Ubisoft's French team. It was released in 2014 and is available on Android, iOS, PlayStation 3 and 4, Xbox 360 and 1, as well as PC, which is what I played it on using a controller. Valiant Hearts was inspired by letters written during World War I and is a story about a group of people trying to survive the war, who have a greater allegiance to each other than the countries they belong to. The highlight of this game for me is its story. The player follows the character's struggle through different periods of the war. There are 4 playable characters, all with different abilities that influence how you solve the levels. There's the French grandfather Emile, his son-in-law Carl, originally from Germany but living in France with his French wife and son, the American expat Freddy, who lives in France and has experienced a tragic loss at the hands of the game's villain, as well as a Belgian vet student turned volunteer nurse, Anna, who is trying to rescue her father from the villain, Baron von Dorf. You are also joined by a lovable German medic dog, who is also an integral part of problem solving, by getting through tight spaces and pushing levers and grabbing things for you. The game is split into 4 chapters during different periods of the war, each of these periods changing how you experience the game, whether it be conflict in open ground, trench warfare, or tunneling. I love the art style of this game. It reminded me of the Tintin comics, and it was all beautifully designed, showcasing the brutal conditions that these soldiers had to deal with. As you run through levels, you will see people in the background, fighting, running, and dying as you charge towards the enemy. This helps to remind you of the tragedy of this particular war. The villain of the game, Baron von Dorf, is made into a bit of a caricature of villainy, providing a bit of comic relief to what is quite a bleak game. This also reinforces that the main villain of the game is the war itself. I found myself getting quite swept up in the game, and I think it had a lot to do with the music. The best example of this would be in the second chapter. After fixing a taxi, Anna drives some of the partisan troops to meet the German advance. This is quite an exciting event, as the troops are eager to get to the front for their adventure, and this is reflected in the game with a fun driving section, where you have to dodge other taxis full of troops. This is all set to a rather upbeat classical song, the French Can-Can. Immediately after this, when you get to the front, you are confronted by the horror of the war, and this is matched with an equally somber tune. I really felt the impact of this as I ran through to save soldiers' lives. I really got quite invested in these characters and felt so much emotion during play. The highs made me smile and the lows left me devastated. The end is simply heartbreaking, and I'm not ashamed to say that it made me cry. Even listening to the music as I'm writing this is making me a bit teary-eyed. The puzzles in the game are quite straightforward, unlike the puzzles I experienced in Day of the Tentacle. They all get gradually harder and more complex, but I really didn't have a problem working them out. If you do get stuck, there is a hint system that can help you on your way, so you don't get frustrated. Most of the puzzles involve finding the right item, or throwing something to make something explode. The most enjoyable and complex puzzle was when Carl was trying to repair the broken down taxi, and needed to change uniforms, gradually working his way up to the top to get the stuff he needed. The difficulty curve is well paced, and Valiant Hearts provides a worthwhile experience no matter your skill set. When you're not solving puzzles, you're dodging cannon fire or machine guns, as well as a few driving sections where you need to dodge things that come at you in tune with your music. Also, whenever Anna needs to heal someone, you're thrown into a rhythm game, which is basically just Guitar Hero. In these sections, if you mess up, the bandage gets bloodier, and your patient could die. This would probably be the hardest section for people that are unfamiliar with the controls. There are many collectibles to find in this game, all being historical items that come with a little bit of information of what it was used for, or the value it had to troops. There is also a fair bit of historical information, with period photos for you to look through, all within the context of the level that you're on. These were short and interesting. I read through them each time I got a new item or started with a new level. I would have loved to put this in front of a high school history teacher, as it would have made my experience with modern history much more enjoyable. This is the game that I would put in front of people that say that games can't be art, or that they're just a violent power fantasy. I love this game and won't be happy until everyone I know has played it. I wholeheartedly recommend this game. It's $15 on Steam, and if that's too much for a 6 to 8 hour emotional ride, then put it on your wish list and get it on sale. Make sure you have some tissues ready. I take my hat off for Ubisoft for creating such a gem. If you liked what you've seen here and would like to see more, hit the like and sub button. If you have any game review requests, let me know in the comments. This has been Val, reviewing Valiant Hearts The Great War for Hihu, and thanks for watching.